Fellas, you know Degree Cool Rush deodorant, right? Well, last year they changed the formula, and guys were mad about it. One dude even started a petition. So guess what? Degree heard us, admitted they messed up, and brought the original Cool Rush scent back exactly how it was. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So grab some and remember why its cool, crisp, and fresh scent made it the #1 men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory for all of us.
And welcome back to Realistic Sustainability Shorts. Yep, another short show. I want to go over day 3 of Hawaii. As most of you probably have noticed from the last short, Jamie and I, we took a pretty fun vacation with a couple of our friends, the Nodders, to the Big Island of Hawaii. And it's really hard to take a trip like that and not share it with everybody. When you're a host of Realistic Sustainability and you go to what people call the Nature Island, you want to share that experience. So here it is, day 3 of the Hawaiian experience on the Big Island of Hawaii. Now, for those of you who don't know, there are 4 generally visited islands in the Hawaiian island chains. The Big Island, or Hawaii, the one that we think of when we think about the collective of the state. Oahu, Maui, and I always get it wrong, and I hope I say it right, Kauai. Kauai is probably the least commercialized with a lot of natural beauty, but mostly jungle that few people go to. Oahu and Maui are your most popular destinations for tourism. And then the Big Island is considered the nature island. That's why we go there. We've kind of fallen in love with it. It's our second trip there, and it's just getting better every time we go. Well, one thing about the quote-unquote nature island is there doesn't seem to be a ton of rules. You can go explore anywhere you want, but it's almost always exclusively at your own risk. So we have to be pretty careful. You'll see in the pictures, if you've joined my personal Facebook or some of the ones I've posted on the greening site, it can be, you can put yourself in dangerous positions. I'm not that brave. I stay back quite a bit and get mocked by my lovely wife, who is the thrill seeker. And we found out my buddy Mike, also the same. So I stay back and enjoy the beauty from a safe distance. Now, when it comes to Hawaii, you can pretty much camp anywhere. We were lucky enough that we had a family member that utilizes timeshares, and we could actually get a place to stay that was indoors. But if you're going there, there is a Walmart on the island. You can quite simply go get a tent and put it pretty much anywhere for pretty cheap. There's actually some parks that charge you $10 a day to utilize their tents, but you can only do it up to 7 days in a row, and then you find something for 1 day and come back for 7. But for that price, you can just get one and have one there available. There's a lot of people who do that in Hawaii. And if you're thinking, man, that's a waste, I have a tent at home. I mean, you can take it on the airplane if you want, or when you're done with the one that you've picked up to use while you're there, just give it to someone. There's plenty of people who could use a brand new tent. Now, again, without the formal rules most of us live by, it seems like Hawaii's rules are just simply respect the island, respect the life. Do not take and remove, do not destroy. And for the few signs there are about cleaning off your shoes before going from one environment to another, follow. Everything is at risk, but it seems to be the unspoken rule. Just respect the island. I like that. To know about the Big Island of Hawaii, it's very limited on plastics. It's got a plastic bag ban, which means that if you go to the store, you bring your own bags. There isn't an option other than in larger stores, you can buy a bag or you can bring a box, but they do not have plastic bags like they do here in Michigan and in many other states. They just simply don't exist. There's hiking to be done everywhere on the island and trails, again, at your own risk because it always maintained. Also, there are 2 major cities where you can see some pretty cool locally sourced things, like jewelry made out of lava stone that has been primarily rounded by the ocean, and they finish cleaning it up and putting them into bracelets. Driftwood carved into many different things, including tikis, and banana leaf weaving and more. So anyways, enough of the let's tell you about Hawaii. I'm sure some of you already know. Let's go into what the heck we did on day 3. Day 3 was a very exhausting day. We decided to go to the volcano, the Kilauea Volcano National Park. And that is an experience. Now, I'll be honest, that one is more touristy, but it's a must-see while you're there. The Kilauea volcano is the world's most active volcano and the youngest volcano on the island. Although the Big Island experiences earthquakes from that volcano, it's not currently active to the point where you see lava flows. There's a lot of steam vents around. We know that there's molten rock close to the surface, but we also know that it's not flowing anymore. See, it stopped doing that before we went the first time, so I've never seen flowing lava. Now, the park itself is just a state park. You get there, you can pay $30 for a 7-day access pass. It allows you to go to anything within the park area, which is more than just the volcano, as if the volcano wasn't enough. But there's steam vent areas, there's hiking trails, there's quite a bit there, along with restaurants and the gift shops, the normal things you would see around a site like that. As we arrived, we had to eat. We ended up, again, we're about 2 hours away from the volcano from where we stayed. So once we got going, got moving, we got there, it was time to eat. We decided to stop at the volcano restaurant, which we most of the time tried to hit restaurants that had locally sourced foods, small diners, places where maybe they're going to the markets in the morning and getting their fish. This was not that place. As my friend Nicole described it, it's museum food. It looked good and it tasted okay, but it wasn't locally sourced. This was frozen stuff that they brought in to sell by the gift shops. So is what it is. I would have probably preferred to have gone somewhere else, but sometimes in Hawaii, things are few and far between. And if you don't know where they're at, you kind of just get what you get. Volcano as a place is very commercial, so the restaurant was pretty generic. So we ate the meh-ranked food and started to make our way down to the outer rim of the volcano. Remember, volcanoes have multiple rims from when they erupt. And in this case, you can only go inside the outer rim. There's another rim further in and so forth, usually 2 or 3. Of course, my buddy Mike absolutely wanting to go inside the volcano, which is not an option. I'll warn you now, before we get into this too much, if you have mobility issues, you have hard times walking great distances, inclines, declines bother you, this is not the place to go. There's not stairs. It's not an escalator. This is a hike that takes some effort. And you'll see some people who bring their hiking gear, and it's probably better to do so. We didn't. And again, this is the second time I've been there, so apparently I simply don't learn. But hiking gear would be nice. Bring your own water. There's uneven steps. There is no real concrete stairs. There's some broken concrete that you can step on, but most steps are uneven. It's generally a dirt path that leads through a jungle area. Lots of roots. Tripping hazards are everywhere, but the views are gorgeous. The hike is long, but at least to us, it was certainly worth it. Even though when you first get out through that winding path, it's not what you expect to see. These long winding paths down into the rim, which makes it a little easier to hike. Down, there was enough down at a slant that my calves were starting to burn. But then again, I'm a chunky guy, so take it for what it's worth. Now, if you're not from the area, you'll sit there and spend a lot of time looking at the plants and flowers and all the different flora in that area because it is different. It's foreign to us when we look at it because we're from Michigan. The plants are different. Matter of fact, some of the plants that are on the ground there, we have in planters at home as if we thought it was just simply a house plant. It's native to Hawaii. So we did spend some time there, just kind of looking at plants and taking pictures of flowers and things of that nature. There's no railings really, by the way, and there's steep drop-offs on the sides. Again, be very, very careful. Everything in Hawaii is at your own risk. But when you get to the inside of the rim, it's a little underwhelming. It's so big, it just looks like a large area of dry lava, cooled lava, where you see that all over the island. The first time we went down there, that rim path was all roped off. You could only go a few feet once you got into the rim or to the surface of that first layer. This time, it was open. There wasn't steam vents right near you. It was open, which tells me that there must be some cooling going on and it's now safe to travel. Because of who we are, we did no studying before we went, so we just wandered around that area. Later, finding out that there is a path a path that you have to follow. The piles of cairns or lava stone was explained to us by another hiker, thank goodness, and that tells us which way the path is. So, for an example, cairns are not spelled like the name. It's Cairns. These are the piles of rocks that you see on paths. Now, remember, especially in places like Hawaii or anywhere across the world where you do a lot of hiking, don't just stack rocks. It's not a neat thing to do because you found a bunch of rocks. There's a purpose for those. They guide people down the paths and tells them which ones are the ones to follow. So if you're one of those people who are just kind of making piles all over the place, you can cause a lot of confusion and maybe even send someone in the wrong direction. You could send them into a direction that could be harmful to them. You could endanger another person. Please do not create piles of rocks unless you know what you're doing and it's on that path that's supposed to have those cairns on them. Learn that lesson. We weren't piling rocks, but that is one of the lessons we learned while we were down there with some of the hikers, which is a valuable piece of information. So it's also why locals get a little cranky when they see random people from an airplane coming into their area and just doing things like this, like stacking the rocks because they think it's neat. You are risking other people and endangering them. Anyways, we explored that outer rim for some time. We really had a good time looking at some of the wildlife that was starting to grow up between the cracks, looking at the formations from the lava, how they kind of roll over and leave these really cool looking structures, and spending time with other hikers, learning about things like the cairns and how to navigate this area. Mike Notter, always the thrill seeker who came with us, wanted to make his way to the inner rim because of the gases being emitted from it. That's all roped off, and you really shouldn't get that close. Not healthy. Although it's not hard to just step over a small rope and move into your death. We luckily talked him out of doing that, and we followed the path. We respected the island, respected the volcano, and continued to move on. And remember, the park system will not put a ton of effort into saving you. It's kind of a Darwinism island, if you will. Although the view of the crater seemed a little underwhelming at first, we got kind of sucked into the small parts, looking at all the little details, and really started to enjoy it. But as we moved across the trail and doing that, the view changed. So a mile or two down the hiking trail, and yeah, we went quite a distance overall. You realize you've made it far enough to see the crater in a whole new light. It's absolutely awe-inspiring. I need to see if I found a really good photo from ones we've taken so I can use it for the cover on this. It's kind of a once-in-a-lifetime view. You know, you're sweating, you're tired, you've gone on a mile, maybe 2 miles up the side of the crater, and now you're finding these openings that just give you a view of the massiveness of this volcano. And it just makes you want to sit there and stare at it, that every detail is amazing. We hiked. Again, if you have mobility issues, not for you. Go onto my Facebook, look at those photos. Even though I don't feel that they do it justice, there's a lot of hiking that goes along here, and it's a very tough trail. We made it back to the Welcome Center by the time we got through, and I was exhausted, completely soaked, just resting in front of an air conditioner so that I could cool down before we made it back to the Jeep to continue our exploration. And I'll tell you, volcano, you have meh food. There's random things to buy, just like any other gift shop. But some of those overlooks make all the hiking worth it. Yeah, it's fun to look at all the small little details and look at the lava formations and what's growing up through it. But those overhead views, or elevated views, if you will, are amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I wish I had the words to express that to you better. Once we cooled down, got back in the Jeep, we made it down the road a little bit. Mike and Nicole had never seen steam vents up close. Well, one of the ones that Jamie and I went to last time just wasn't open, which is kind of a bummer. That was a really good tour through the steam vents. A safe one, too, because it had its own paths. And you even got to go over the sulfur hills, which stinks, but looks cool. We did find a steam vent area, pulled over, which, by the way, the steam vents really are just boiling water. It's underground streams that are too close to where the ground is heated up by close lava, if you will, or just simply moisture and rain that gets down into the cracks, and in that ground, it's hot enough to boil it out and create steam. That steam rises up through the cracks of the ground and looks pretty cool, but it's not just the lava is right there. It is that it's just warm enough to create the steam. Water gets down there and you get cracks in the ground where that steam comes through. So you have to be very, very careful. You don't want to fall in. You'll become a lobster. You'll be cooked alive. There's even plenty of stories about people who have. Some survive, some do not. So we always stay on the path. Beat and sweaty, we stopped at another unremarkable place to get food. I'm not even going to bother to go over it, but unfortunately was just a normal restaurant with pretty much basic foods, but it served the purpose. We were hungry. We stopped at a few more overlooks and enjoyed the surroundings. To stop to enjoy the nature a bit longer before heading into that 2-hour drive. Back to our room, exhausted, sweaty, and I gotta tell you, I'm not sure the inside of that Jeep will ever be the same. Day 3 was pretty much volcano. We saw tons of really cool natural formations. Being inside of a volcano is just a fun thing to say. No, it's not active. Nope, there's no flowing lava. We were safe. But the pictures and the videos are fantastic. And you're welcome to jump onto my Facebook and see those pictures and videos for yourself. I've changed my personal Facebook to basically let everybody in, so that anything that I don't post on other sites, at least you can still see. And I appreciate the follows. If you're looking, one of the things that we dealt with that long walk is I kept joking it was a good thing I took my magic mine. And yes, it's for mental clarity, but also energy and stress relief. So nonstop, we're making jokes about, boy, it's a good thing I took that. Well, just so you know, take a look at the link in this episode. I just found out that they gave me a new link because we're creeping up on Christmas. That the Black Friday deal, half off. Yeah, half off. So if you've been waiting and wanting to try it, now's the time. I can't foresee any discounts being greater than half. So just go down in the description, click the link, take a look. If you want to try it out, now's the time. 50% off. Anyways, they helped me get through the long hikes. I'll tell you that. Just use the link in the description. Again, thank you for listening. I know some of these shorts are just us talking about things we've done. Sometimes I'll mix in some educational things too, but this trip was too good not to discuss. So thank you so much for listening. We really do appreciate you following the show. If you don't already follow it, please click on that. Follow the show. It just helps statistically, even if you don't listen to us every time. If you liked this episode, share it with a friend or on social media. Helps us tremendously getting rotation through different social media groups. It's not just the shares, but your reactions and your comments. Feel free. Tell me what you think when you see things out there. Have you been there? Tell me your experience. I love that stuff. So I found out more people are actually trying Magic Mind because of the show. So thanks. I greatly appreciate it. And I tell you, hopefully you're getting the same benefits I am. If you are, let us know. Tell me what you think about it. Feel free to post, send me messages, any of that stuff. We don't do sponsorships because it's something that we have to do to keep a show running. As most of you know, realistic sustainability is not exactly what you'd call the most professional. It's just myself and a few others who like to talk about some of these topics. So we decided to do this because we like that product. So I'd like your feedback. If you like it or dislike it or whatever you think, tell me. It's good to know. Anyways, thank you so much. We really do appreciate all the support that each person gives realistic sustainability. And remember, we're just trying to get a little bit better. Little bit, big bit. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon.